two turtles. Okay, the
Oh,
turtle dudes.
yeah.
They started off small.
Yeah.
They grow with their environment.
Yes.
They share a 40-gallon tank.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, Turtle Boy, Turtle Man. We ended up renaming them to Spot and Non. Spot has a red spot on his head.
Yeah.
Non is a non-spot. He doesn't
Yeah.
have one. Spot and Non. Okay. Non all of a sudden decides to start bullying Spot and like attacking him, which is very scary as a turtle owner because I mean, the fuck?
Toxic
How they
masculinity. There's a lot of
yeah,
toxic masculinity happening.
so much. And the thing is we looked it up. My niece, she
Mm-hmm.
looked it up, and that's actually exactly what's going on because they grow with their environment and they've been
Mm-hmm.
in that 40-gallon tank for a few years now.
The ego tripping.
One of them is like getting like territorial. It's like, yo, that's my rock. And now it's like three big ass rocks in there. But anyway, his ass got downgraded to a 10-gallon tank.
So
But
the one
since
that's
I,
being feisty, you put in the 10-gallon.
yo,
Okay.
relocated, so now he's in my living room.
Mm.
So I have a turtle.
See, my mom let us have turtles, and she let my brothers have like turtles that just walk around the house. And I'm just like, Mom, why did you do that? Because you know they don't clean nothing. And they got to the point where they ain't clean their room
Mm.
and they couldn't find them turtles. And I'm just like, y'all are out of order. So when you open their room door, I'm just like, what is that smell? Is it y'all funk or is it these turtles? So they would just
Mm.
purposely leave food on the floor for the turtles just in case.
Turtle food.
I'm just like, y'all
Okay.
are just
They come
trash.
through.
Yeah, y'all are trash. So I had a turtle, but it was in that little tank. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, I can't. No, that's too
Well,
much.
this one he's pretty large now.
Hmm.
He's about this maybe this size.
Oh wow.
He's
Yeah.
probably about the size of my face.
Mm-mm.
No lie. And but yeah. Well, speaking of turtles, they're pretty unisex.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty non-gender animals to have.
Before we get in that, because you've never been on She Gets It podcast before.
I haven't. Thank you for having
You
me. Thank
know, I wanted to
you
give
so
you
much.
the initiation to Gangsta Nation because you are pod family.
Let's go
And
see.
both of us saw this stupid post about non-gender babies. And if anyone is listening that's with the non-genderness, that is not my focus. Like, do what you do, say what you say, keep your pronouns, right? My focus is the fact that babies that just came out the woman's hoo-ha and you see the genitalia, they do not want to tell this child or label this child as a boy or a girl, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's ridiculous. And parents get to choose the fact that they're going to be babies, which sounds stupid to say, um, even though it's evident what this child is, what the sex of this child is. Before we get into that, I wanted to tell the people or have you tell the people about your podcast and all that just on why you started. So let's talk to you about your podcast
Yay.
and Blossom.
Well, thank you again for having me. For
Yes.
those listening, thank you for tuning in with Shamrock on She Gets It podcast. I
Yes.
am the creator and host of Concrete and Blossom podcast. I'm Dawn the Doll. You can listen to my podcast. We aspire to create change through conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my podcast was inspired by self reflection
Mm.
and a journey of intentional self growth. And I'm on a journey to learn how to be more gentle in
Mm-hmm.
my spirit so that way I can deliver my message better.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to talk. I love to talk about heartfelt things.
Mm-hmm.
I love to talk about things that are affecting society at a large from a common sense level based on a major city in our marvelous country.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, my goal is to create change through conversation. I represent all Black first, and
Yes.
all Black first. So on my podcast, we go from a variety of topics. You know, we talk about education with COVID. We talk about customer service and Black business.
Hello.
We talk about music is medicine, and I always have different music artists from around everywhere, no matter where I meet them, come on. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we talk about real life topics mixed in with who they are as music artists because music moves the soul.
Right.
And so, yeah, you know, I just talk about a bunch of things. It's an open forum for people to come on and share their expertise
Mm-hmm.
or their knowledge. And so I also sometimes do open panels where it's open to the public. They can come on and be part of, you know, a live episode
Y'all
recording.
heard that?
No, is very open. That's the thing, is very open, and we get all types of opinions on the spectrum, and
Mm-hmm.
so I really love it. And the thing is at the end of it, somebody has maybe not changed their entire perspective,
Mm-hmm.
but they definitely have created some change within the community, even if it's just opening lines of communication. So
Mm.
we all
Open
about. So
mind.
Concrete and Blossom podcast. You know, we blossoming through difficult discussions
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, concrete conversations. So
Facts.
that's us.
This is life. Okay. So what year did you start your podcast?
I started my podcast in 2020. July 4th, 2020 was our premiere episode.
Excuse me.
Hey.
Fireworks, sort of like the ones that are outside with my neighbors. I don't know why they have fireworks.
Right, right. Coming out the
Um, so when you started up until now, what have you noticed has been a change in this podcast or the show or your audience?
oh my goodness. So that is the craziest thing, is it's been such a change. So when I first started, it was like, oh, I'm gonna do these series,
Mm-hmm.
and I started listing off like all these series, and I got like two or three with a
Yeah.
few episode names, and I had it all figured out. And then I started reaching out to people and getting a few things lined up, and it was
Yeah.
really great. And then all of a sudden,
Mm.
um what I wanted to talk about wasn't really necessarily popping and where I could get people to plug in and tap in with me. And
Yeah.
so very quickly it kind of went from, okay, I have these set series that I want to put out so that way I have like this super loaded content and everything like that, to, you know, what's really out there, what is really heartfelt right now.
Mm-hmm.
Again, back, so, you know, just really being in alignment with myself. I'm really about self-reflection, and I know that my podcast was based on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I started having to think about things that were more affecting me, more affecting those people around me, more
Mm-hmm.
affecting people like me. And so then it just became, all right, now I'm going to put out an episode every Friday. And then I started hooking up with podcast people and being like, okay, I'm going to do this on Friday for me. And then I'm going to have this come out for this segment and this come out for that segment. And it's like, whoa, slow down. First
Yeah.
of all, you got you a whole podcast. It's like,
Yeah.
first of all, take a deep breath, recognize that you got a podcast, you got episodes that's out, you have people who you are meeting, you're building your network. Like, there's a lot of moving parts going on with this. You don't have to do the absolute most.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the biggest change was pretty much recognizing in myself where I needed to slow down and create moments. You
Yeah.
know, we have to create our moments. And so creating moments where it's like, oh, okay, well, let me go ahead and write these intro outros, because my episodes are pre-recorded, and so I give them over to my producer. Shout out to No Style Music Group.
Mm-hmm.
And so I give it over to them. They chop it and slice it and dice it and make it sound all perfect, put
Mm-hmm.
our little whoop-de-doos on there and all that kind of stuff. And so for me, it was just really, the change was more within, again,
Mm-hmm.
more within. And the audience has honestly just been amazing so far, because once I recognized that my target audience wasn't who I was originally following
Mm-hmm.
on my social media,
Hello. Hello.
And I say that because first of all, shout out to everybody, all my friends and loved ones, anybody who knows me, who has ever met me in person, who has ever encountered me in any shape, form, or fashion, who supports me. But when I first started on social media, it was all really about connecting with like those people close to me, like kind of just keeping up with them on a day to day, right?
Yeah.
And then that network obviously exponentially expands very quickly on social media because it becomes just your very close circle. To then you got your pulpit people, you got your pew people, you got your parking lot people, you got your picnic people way out there in the fields, and now you're just following everybody's following you, which is kind of what it turned into for me. And so but they aren't my target audience. My target audience are people who want to create change through their conversation, don't mind having meaningful conversations, because a lot of people get kind of annoyed with them when they're constant and redundant and repetitive. But that's just something that really fuels me. I think that is very important because it allows people to stay focused.
Right.
Especially with so much stuff going on, so much stuff floating around, so many things to be distracted by. So that's probably the biggest change, is just understanding within myself how to slow down and pace myself so that way I'm giving my audience and I'm giving the people quality and not quantity.
Yes.
So I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I definitely have some inspirations in this podcast game. So you one of them, sis. So thank you again for having me.
Of course. I mean, my goal, like I said, is to connect with the people I'm already connected to and push y'all out like we push each other out. So that means I got to get whoever ain't been on a show on a show. So since your podcast started, what is your favorite episode so far?
Okay. So
no hard feelings if she don't pick the episode y'all did.
I mean, so I have a new segment and I think it is really amazing. I don't think it maybe is my favorite episode, but I definitely say this is going to be one of my favorite segments. And as long as she will share space with me, shout out to Queen Sylvia for Sylvia Speaks. You can go follow her at I am Queen Sylvia on Instagram for sure.
Write that down. Let me write that down.
Yes. And so,
what did y'all talk about?
So she does a motivational Monday. And so I kind of, when I watch her motivational Mondays, I kind of do a spinoff of focusing on one of her messages. So that has been kind of our thing so far. And I am actually
why do they have fireworks?
I'm sorry?
I'm talking about my neighbors. Like, why do they have fireworks? You can't hear it?
I cannot hear it, but maybe because fireworks is my favorite thing, so the universe is giving you my love. Fireworks is one of my favorite things.
Okay.
Girl. But yes, so we did an episode called You Aren't Who They Knew. Episode 22. Shout out to Queen Sylvia again. And we also just recorded an episode, and it should be coming out on next Friday. And so that definitely has to be one of my favorite segments. And we call it the Silver segment because I call her Silver Sylvia. Okay. Because she be serving them gems up on a silver platter, honey. So it's the Silver segment of Concrete and Blossom podcast. I will say that I did learn a lot. And I wish even that these guys would come back on. I have an episode, Really Talking Realty, episode 20. And I had one of my very old, good high school, longtime friend, love him to death. Shout out to Levi and his fiance, doing it big. But I got a chance to talk to him and his partner, Rashad. And that was a really good episode. Let me see.
And are these people you knew already or people you just gravitated?
So Levi, I knew again from high school. His partner he brought on with him. Those are the real estate guys. Matter of fact, let me just give y'all that plug right now. So you can find Levi at Levi the Real Estate Guy underscore on Instagram, no underscore on Facebook and Twitter. Same thing, Levi, the real estate guy. That's Levi. You can also find Rashad at Home Ownership Ambassador on Instagram. Okay, so shout out to them. I did know Levi from high school. Sylvia, I met her through a very, very good mutual friend. Her best friend is one of my dearest friends. I love her to death. Shout out to Allie of E33 Novelty. Any of your customizable goods, you can go see her.
Come on, plug.
Come on, man. I'm all about it. Okay. Listen, E33 Novelty. Yes, she is amazing with it. Let's see. I'm just getting to it. Also, man, okay, so I have another segment, and then I'm gonna let this be it, right? Because you asked me for one favorite episode, and I'm just running down the list. But I have another favorite segment, and geez, man, she's actually gonna be a co-host on an upcoming show recording this Monday. Get at me in my DMs if you want to be on there, because we're gonna be talking about this same topic actually, but it's a panel. Should be really fun, but yeah. So let's talk with Lady K, with Miss Kalea Vaughn, a LA-based creative by way of Dallas, actually. So she and I actually met in Houston in college, and she also, when she speaks, I just feel so inspired, and I know that people need to hear it, which is what my platform is all about. So yes, those episodes, any of the Let's Talk with Lady K's that's on there. We did one about the elections and just political views and all of that. And what else did we do together? Our voices have voted, and we did a sneak peek episode where we really just talked about kind of creating your own lane. So yeah, I mean, those are some of my favorites.
Okay. Are there any topics that you avoid on your show?
So there is one that I have avoided, and it's the transgender women not dropping the transgender, having the people with not dropping the transgender.
Yeah.
I really want to talk about that. I would love to have a transgender community conversation. And so until I kind of find those authentic people that can really come and just give me their just perspective and respect, that I probably still am not going to drop it. But you know, because some people are just not open to it. It's like, well, to them that's just disrespect. And it's like, I mean, but I am a woman. So you know, I really want to have that conversation, but until I can get the right people from the transgender community to come and speak with me on it, I think that I think it's respectful to postpone it until then.
I'm like that about different topics pertaining to kids on Cozy Womb podcast. Like, if I've never experienced an abortion, so I'm not going to sit there and tell somebody what an abortion is. Or I never experienced a miscarriage, so I'm not going to sit on there and tell other parents about miscarriages. So until somebody wants to do a show with me on that, I'm not touching it.
Right. Now leave it alone.
Yes. All right. So for this year, 2021, it's February. March is coming right up. What are some goals you have for your show this year?
Oh, okay. So for my show, number one, talked about creative moments. I really, honestly, and I've been doing much better with it lately. Got a few lined up, like this one here tonight, this feature. And
thanks.
Yes, really, honestly, just continuously bettering the content that I put out. Even if that means not necessarily putting something out every single week.
Yeah.
I need to make sure I'm plugging in with the right people to put the knowledge out, especially whenever it comes to things that I don't have either direct experience with or things that I don't feel of any expertise.
Right.
And so that's one goal, just continuously putting out better content. Also for my show, you know, I really am trying to produce what's called garden gatherings, concrete and blossom. So, you know, we blossoming through. We all about, you know, I'm really in love with flowers. It's also one of my favorite things. Most of my tattoos have some type of floral
design.
It
has flowers all over it, y'all.
It does. My shirt, everything. I love flowers. So I want to have what's called garden gatherings. And it's pretty much just like a live interactive podcast panel. Hopefully we can get Shan Rock in the building in Texas to come and be on his panel.
Yes.
Yes. But yes, that is like the major goal.
Okay.
And so until that's accomplished, I think that's like the biggest thing is this live interactive experience that I want to produce. So
With good people and good vibes, okay?
good people,
All
good
right.
vibes, good messages, good convo. All that.
Listen, only the good vibes because we're not here for the
Only.
drama, okay? We want to stay focused, okay? All right, Dawn, before we get into this topic, please tell the people where to find your show and where they can find you on IG or on Twitter.
Okay, so I'm still not on Twitter. I need to get there.
She is resistant.
Y'all been telling me for a minute too.
Yes.
So here's the thing: until I get my content creation, because that's something that I just haven't found a good balance in what I want to be putting out. Until I find that, like where I'm knocking out my content creation for episodes and promotions and getting these messages out and everything like that.
Yeah.
I'm not getting on no other platforms to distract me.
Okay. I respect
so
it.
I am just being disciplined, and but you can find me on Instagram at Dawn the Doll, spelled out DAWNTHEDOLL, or you can find me at Concrete and Blossom Podcast on all social media and listening platforms. I'm talking about Breaker, Apple, Spotify, Google, Anchor. I mean, you know, RadioCast and all that there. So, Concrete and Blossom Podcast, that's CONCRETANDBLOSSOM at gmail.com as well if you're trying to reach me by email. Again, open platform. If you're ever interested in coming on, any listener that hears the sound of my voice right now, you are more than welcome to share space with me as long as you come with peace, love, and light.
Yes. All right, Dawn. You ready for this Theybies?
Babies.
Babies.
You know what? It already sounds bad because I never associated babies and rabies until we threw babies. That was just like bars.
All right. So since we said we wanted to do this episode, I put in Theybies on Twitter and tweets from 2018 popped up.
Oh my gosh.
And I never heard of it before. So like there was a tweet from Peter and Kirstein's that says Theybies are a requirement. Parents that designate gender of a pre-adult before age 4 must have the child removed by the state. Genitalia does not determine gender. It's one of choice. Parents will lose your child if you designate its gender. Glorious social engineering. So I'm just like, is he for it? It sounds like he's for it.
He's absolute social engineering. That means that there is some sketchy shit going on because they have to concoct and engineer this thought process of trying to tell us that there is no difference between someone having a penis or a vagina at birth. The only people who have the right to choose, in my opinion, let me just make that disclaimer, this is not a fact. You cannot probably go find this on Google in any solid form. But unless you're a hermaphrodite, how do you get to just choose? I unfortunately just don't have a penis.
Boy, I would love one. I always said I wanted to know what it feels like to have balls.
I don't want to know what it feels like to have balls, but I would love to know what it feels like to have a penis and get head.
Oh, yes.
I would love to know.
Okay. All right.
How loose we getting on this? How loose we getting on this episode? I'm just asking.
I mean, okay. So have you seen big clits? Women with big clits look like little dicks. And can't nobody tell me it's different.
I don't have a big clit, first of all, but I mean, it's proportionate, but I mean, no,
I've seen them on my nightly searches for things.
I don't think that head could feel as good with a small penis as it does to men with larger penises.
Oh, hell no.
right? Like
There's no way.
you couldn't, right? Because you
Mm-mm.
can't even do as much.
No, no, you can't. It's kind of like there's a reason why people get like those small mini sausages and not
Mhm.
the big kibasas when they want to cook. There's a difference there.
Correct.
Are you looking for a snack or girth?
Right.
Okay.
So okay, so 2018. And you know what? I actually think that the clip that we saw was from that time as well.
Oh, was
Can
it?
we
I
listen
thought it
to
was
a snippet?
recent.
I have it. Yeah, it's from 2 years ago. So maybe
Okay.
like I have a clip of it. You want to listen to a little part of it?
Yes.
All right, here we go. That's not it. One sec.
Used to be a straightforward proposition. You could have a boy or you could have a girl. But now there's a third option. It's called steep civilizational decline. A handful of parents across America are deliberately keeping their children's sex hidden
A
and
handful.
instead called Theybies. The idea is that only the children themselves should be able to decide whether they are boys or girls.
Okay, let's just start right there. We're about to dissect this.
The
I need to
children.
dissect this. All right. First of all, there are so many other decisions
Hmm.
in life that these small children are going to have to make
Right.
growing, whether to eat the fucking orange stuff
Hmm.
or not tonight,
Right.
whether to eat the peas or just the hot dog and no bun.
Hmm. My 3-year-old. And don't give her
First
the
of
hot dog
all,
without no bread. It's gonna be a problem, but she don't eat the bread.
I don't even know if I want to wear my rain boots inside to go to bed. Okay, first of all, there are so many decisions that this child is going to have to come up with. I don't think that it's fair to put the weight
Hello.
of being a man or woman with what society has made men and women today,
Yeah.
from what people think society wants of them to what society actually requires of us as men and women. How and I'm just it takes me back to, so what do we call the difference between the penis and a vagina at birth if we don't call it male and female, which would be boy and girl? They're synonyms for each other.
It's kind of like how they don't want to acknowledge that they see different colors of people. I don't see color. I don't see sex. Like that's going to be like the next thing. How can you not see that there's something slanging and then
Correct.
something tucked?
Correct. I mean, I don't understand. I just don't get the concept of. I wonder, is it with forethought in mind how now, if it weren't based on the genitalias,
Mm-hmm.
so many people wouldn't be like homophobic or transphobic. You know what I mean? Because I would say a lot of males
Mm-hmm.
bashing is what we see and probably hear the most of when it comes to that. And not to discredit any numbers and statistics for women going through the same thing as
Yeah.
lesbians or transgender women or queers or all the letters and all that. I just don't want to disrespect anybody, so I'll try to tread very carefully. But I think that a lot of that stems from men fearing
Mm-hmm.
the thought process of what goes into man on man action,
Right.
for men, because a straight man, well, I'm not gonna say all straight men because I don't know. I'm not a man. I'm not a straight man, and maybe some straight men like this. But like most straight men don't want you to play anywhere near their anal canal.
Hello, and those men, you can hit me up. Like the fuck? I want you to kick me like a donkey or a horse when I'm behind you. Like, no. Uh-uh. Mm-mm.
I'm not. That's not my type of guy. If a guy were into that, I probably would be a little discouraged from moving forward
He's nice
sexually.
about it. Be like,
But
wrap it up, B. Get your clothes on. We gotta go. Where we
we're not
going?
doing that.
We're not doing this. Yeah, I don't. Me neither. I don't like that, and I just feel like, why would you want to confuse small children? And if your privates didn't make you a man or a woman, then it would, everything you do would be based on, I feel. I feel like I'm a woman. I feel like I'm a boy. Therefore, I should be able to go into this room with these other women because this is what I feel. Well, if you want to put everything on feelings and what someone feels like, maybe somebody felt like shooting a person today was okay because that's what they felt like. Is that going to be now correct? Is the law going to switch to what you feel?
Well, of course, we know that. See, that's an extreme that I would always go to. But what I've learned is that somebody's going to say, somebody doesn't die because they want to use the same restroom as the opposite sex.
Uh, there's people in the past have.
Listen, I would be saying the same thing you were saying if you weren't saying it. Like if I had somebody sitting in the opposite chair of me, I would be like, okay, that would be the same thing. Yeah, literally as me just saying, okay, well, I don't want to pay the light bill. I don't feel that I should have to pay the light bill because the rates are too high.
That's me every month.
I don't feel like I should have to pay it.
Yeah.
I feel like you should lower my rate because I'm a teacher.
Yes.
I only get paid once a month. I'm struggling to make my ends meet because my district decided that since I didn't finish 2 months out of the entire school year, they weren't going to give me the raise that I was due this year. And so I moved thinking I would get that, and now I'm not. So that puts a strain on things. So I don't feel like I should have to pay the electricity bill this much. Like it should be in accordance to what I make and can comfortably live on.
But
That's what I
wouldn't that
feel.
be perfect though? Like if you got things based on what you make, how much you make a year? Okay, now you're gonna get this Nokia, and you're gonna only be able to go to this gas station and get this gas that has mostly water in it. Yes, it's gonna fuck up your car, but you're gonna get to where you need to go. And this is the grocery store you're gonna shop at because it's within your means.
It's within your means.
But the thing is, like, people don't want boundaries. And I think that's the main thing. People want to be able to do everything other people can do and not have somebody stop them. Because I have used a woman's bathroom with a trans person come in the bathroom that I know is a man. He knows he's a man, but he's dressed in women's clothing. I didn't feel anything about it because we have stalls. And in a woman's bathroom, you use stalls. But what if me going into a man's bathroom because I feel like I am a
I have
man?
a couple of stalls. I have a couple.
They do, but that's another thing. I don't want nobody, another man, to know that I'm going in the stall because I'm shitting. But that's like a plain as day. If you have the urinals here and you decide to go in the stall, either you're hiding your dick from me or you go and take a shit. So now this is not even like a private restroom. This is like, you might as well take the door off the stall because you're taking a shit.
Right.
I see you holding your balls, you're taking a shit.
We know what's going on in there.
Right. And it's like, if men saw me come in and I still had these D's, I still had this thighage. Listen, and I feel like I'm a man and I want to come in the bathroom and I want to pee in this urinal. They're gonna be looking at me like, for real?
Word?
And it's crazy that people feel like, oh, you're making a big deal. It's not a big thing. It can possibly snowball into a big thing.
It will snowball into a big thing because what happens when you wake up and don't feel like a woman in the middle of you in this restroom with all these other beautiful auras who were born with these auras? Like, unfortunately, for me, it honestly even goes like a little bit deeper than that. I don't feel that the universe or any higher power would make that type of mistake, in my opinion. I feel that if you want to pick up the habits and traits of the opposite sex, gender, what have you, that's a conscious decision you can make. But I don't think that that makes it as such when it's facts can be proven. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And That's just something that no one can argue with. And the fact that people are genuinely trying to make a legitimate argument out of it, it just shows the lack of intelligence that we as Americans truly have. Like, this is really the battle that y'all are choosing to
Right.
try to like make a thing.
So
You know
many
what I
other
mean?
things going on, and this is what y'all want to talk about.
Even in 2018, like, are you kidding? This is where we are. And not only that, I think that it's super weird, right? Like, I
Mhm.
think it's super weird that it's typically, oh, I gotta get a charger. Let me put a pause for 1 second.
Charge me up before you go, 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 go. This is your intermission music. Charge me up before you go, 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 go. I got a funny ass laptop and I purchased an extra battery for it. But if I it's a full charge right now. If I unplug it and just let it sit on the full charge, it'll turn off in like 2 minutes.
Oh no.
And this is like the second battery I got for it. HP, call me.
Man, you need an Apple, girl.
So I just keep it on the charger whenever I'm recording because
Yeah,
I don't
smart.
trust it.
Well, we back in live full effect, but
We're back.
yeah, I mean, I think that the energy is super weird because, again, not even speaking on like super religious, and I definitely have somebody who can take us all the way there and back from that
Mm.
standpoint, and I would love for any today, wow, today actually I met a fourth generation psychic medium, and she actually, this was the first time I could actually say I truly believe that she has some type of gift.
Yeah.
Some type of gift, because she definitely knew things about me that you wouldn't be able to piece together through my social media.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't be able to know unless you knew me. um it was it was kind of eye-opening, but yeah, I mean, the point is that I don't think that any higher power of any sort, shape, form, or fashion would make that type of mistake to put someone into the wrong body. I don't think that we're not chemically engineered either, people, by in a lab and then they accidentally put your persona in a fucking body that you don't fucking belong in. Like, what the hell?
Man is definitely working on it though.
Absolutely, right? Like, but we ain't there yet. Now
Yeah.
those can be babies.
Yeah.
Those can
Call them Theybies. Where
call
you
them.
from? I'm from the lab of 4293652. Okay. That other batch was fucked up, so you're
That's number
fired.
right. That's number 7237.
That's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. I just want kids to be able to come into this world and be kids. And we can like society has to stop making new issues or new things to talk about because they don't want to talk about the other things that people are actually dealing with on an everyday basis that are important.
It's a distraction. So, what do you think about the unisex toys? Let's talk about that before we even get into distractions, because that's
Okay, so I have two daughters, 3 and 7, and I purposely buy them um dolls, and I'll turn around and buy them dinosaurs, and I'll turn around and buy them those little race cars and have them race cars around the house, and I'll get them like remote control cars, and they also have Barbies, and they also have a big ass pink tent in one of my living rooms that have lights at the top, so I make sure they know that you can play with anything, you can read any book. Who you are as a girl does not determine what you can and can't play with. When it comes to clothes, you can wear jeans. You can wear a shirt that's in the boy section with a dinosaur on it if you want to. And when it comes to the fact that if I had boys, I don't know what I would do because I don't have boys. So I don't know what that would be. But for my girls, it's kind of like, wear what you want, but I will never wake up and my child say, "I'm a boy today." No, you're a girl. And when you go to the bathroom, you're going to wipe yourself. you're going to flush the toilet, and you're going to close the lid. Like,
That's
you don't get to excuse a child to make adult decisions because society said they can.
correct. Absolutely not.
Please check out She Gets It shop on Teespring. The website is in the description for the show. All right. I got merch on there for the show for those who would like to wear their support or show their support that way. You can support the She Gets It show and podcasts and merch on that website. And if you can't get the website, just remember www.whoisshan.com, and you can support me on other shows too and other places to shop for merch. Let's get back to the show. It just
And
doesn't make sense.
I think that's where people get. I think that's where the situation gets touchy is whenever we have girls. I can dress, for example, Aaliyah. Aaliyah would dress in her baggy
Loved
pants,
her.
with bra. Everybody did, right? She's an icon. You can get with somebody, you know, like and this person, I believe she has declared herself as pansexual, but like Janelle Monáe, who can wear the tailored suits and things
Love
like
it.
that. You know, and she is so bomb. Like, first of all, that classic old school look like that, she
Yes.
is perfect for it, and I am here for every second of it.
Yes.
But I mean, it's always been okay for girls to be on the more tomboyish side, especially when it just comes to clothes and throwing your hair in a ponytail or a bun or cutting it off or whatever. It gets really touchy when it comes to the boys. And unfortunately, I don't have any children, so I always try to be really careful on what I say I think it should be like, because I know parenting doesn't come with a handbook. I know that I know that you have to figure it out as you go. I know that it's a lot of hard lessons learned by not only the children but the parents. I mean, you know, I can't imagine what it's like. I'm nowhere near having children in the next foreseeable 5 years at least.
You heard it
Minimum.
here first. Yeah.
Okay.
Understood.
So, you know, but I think that when it comes to the boys, it's like, dang, okay, well, if one of your little boys came and said, I really like that pink dress with the tutu in this section, you know, a lot of people have such a problem with saying, okay, well, wear that. Like, why does that? I think that society is much harder on men, especially just as little boys growing up. Like, as adults, I'm gonna say it's equally as hard for everybody in that community. Again, I don't want to be offensive. I have not looked up those statistics and everything. Maybe I should. It's not like I'm not trying to be educated on it, but you know, I think that just as growing up, that's where it becomes the problem. You know, like if your little boy wants to do ballerina instead of little league football.
Listen, let me tell you something. So when I was like, I want to say I was like 12 or 13, my mom used to babysit this little boy. I'm not gonna say his name because he probably grown now. And he was what you call flamboyant, right? And his dad worked a lot, and his mom basically was not around, not in their life. And his dad like owned a radio station, and she would watch him for the most part. Whenever he had to work or he had like, you know, night outings and stuff. And he was very flamboyant. If you heard him and you didn't see him, you would swear it was a girl in the house. And his voice was very like fine. The way that he carried himself was very girl like, but he was not a girl. But I will say that his personality, or maybe he had more feminine hormones than most boys, where anything girly he catered to. If it was cheerleading, he knew cheers like out the blue. He would make up cheers out the blue. You know, he was very with Britney Spears, and we're talking about like a 4 and 5-year-old, right? And that was just his personality. Whenever he would come by, sometimes he would have dolls that he played with, and his dad was completely okay with it. Sometimes he would have like fake lipstick or lip balm, and his dad was okay with it. My mom knew that, of course, he's going to grow up and he's going to be flamboyant and he's going to choose what he identifies with. I knew it. My brothers knew it. The other kids that my mom watched knew it. And it's just like some kids, you can see who they will be. Some kids you can't. Some kids are sure that something is not like the other kids within them, and they'll show you, and some kids will hide it. But what happens with the kids that hide it is they might be really negative or bully-ish to other children who are comfortable within themselves, like that little boy. And that's what's scary, when people see other people comfortable within their skin, comfortable within their personalities, and they hate them for it because they don't have the guts to be comfortable within themselves. Now that I don't mind a child growing up, their bodies changing, because your bodies do change. Things that you liked as like 7, 8, 9, 10, you're not going to like when you're 14, because you're going through puberty. You're going to through all your changes to become a young girl or a young boy. And if you're making children make a decision before they're 4 years old about who they are, who they identify as, and you send them to a school where other parents aren't doing that and other kids aren't doing that, you're giving them another major battle that will be much easier if they had a clear understanding of who they are.
And it's so unnecessary.
Very.
It's an unnecessary battle, because for me, it's almost like humans just trying to play the higher power, trying to
Yes.
play God. They're trying to be the be all, say all decision maker because that's what we think.
Right.
Our minds are clearly getting further and further gone away as a collective, is
Hmm.
what I, you know what I mean? Like, that is not a rational way to think when there is clearly purpose and reason and intention behind the male female just system,
Hmm.
everything about it. There's a purpose for it, there's a reason for it. So again, it's like you said, it's based on the feels, and I just feel like that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Because if I feel like slapping the fuck out of your kid because they won't shut the fuck up,
Doesn't mean you
do
could do it, but
I
you
just
want
need to
to.
slap the fuck out of your kid? I
Right.
mean, your kid is the one who won't shut the fuck up. Like, that's factual. Just
Right.
like his or her genitalia.
Right.
So,
Also in April, there's another tweet on Theybies. Um, Growth of gender neutral kids clothes have been waiting for this day since buying all white baby clothes from such and such company, right? Finally, babies. This is my thing. Before I knew the sex of both of my children, I purposely put green, light blue, and yellows in my registry. I put mixed toys, mixed colors in my registry.
yeah,
And
but here's the thing though.
yeah,
When it comes to that, you can definitely do the unisex thing, but I think two people are too stuck on what is like boyish and what
that's what
is
I
girl.
hate.
What does that mean? Like,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
Because if you're so scared for your boy, your son, to play with a doll or resemble play with something that resembles him, right? How do you
Mhm.
expect that boy to go from a boy to a preteen to a teenager to a young man to a possible father and be completely okay with it? That's why a lot of men are not connected to their children once they have children, because they're completely removed mentally, emotionally, from what it is to have a small person or see someone that looks just like them.
Mm.
Like, you have to introduce that in somewhere and feel like, oh, it's normal for a father to be married and his wife may work a career where she can take care of the household financially, but he also helps by staying home with the kids, teaching the kids, feeding the kids, taking care of the home. That helps also financially, because one child on daycare can run you at least 800 to 1,000 something dollars a
Girl,
month.
I already know, and I don't even have kids. I'm telling you.
So, to be honest, even for me, if I was married and I made enough money to take care of my household and my husband was willing to stay home, work on his craft, whatever that would be, because I will back that also, and take care of our kids, sir, you can stay home. That does not make you less of a man.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
society feels like it makes males less of a man when they're hands on with their children in a way that's not the society norm for men.
Mm. Mhm.
And that shouldn't
Mhm.
be a thing.
Absolutely. I think that I wonder where the fear stems from.
Insecurity and people making fun of people of the past. Oh, you're a girl. I saw you play with the toy. You were playing with Barbies with your sister in the back. Let me tell you something. When Christmas came and all of my brothers got toys and they got a whole big ass train set in their room, who was putting the Barbies and the dolls on top of the train so I could see it go around? Who was playing with the G.I. Joes? Me? Me?
Yeah. And but that's the thing. It's like, why do people get so? I think part of it has to do with people trying to. Man, part of it has to do
Say
with
it.
people
Say it.
trying to play God because when you conceive, most people. I'm gonna say most people, right? I don't have
Mhm.
kids. It's just
Right.
my opinion, my perspective. I think that when people conceive, especially when it's planned, right? Like especially when it's planned, whatever that situation looks like, but you finna have a baby.
Right.
A lot of times when it's not planned too, but especially when it is planned, or somewhat in the ballpark of like, if me and this person get pregnant, it's not a horrible thing.
Yeah.
We ain't trying to get pregnant, but we ain't not trying. Whatever that situation looks like, right?
Yeah.
I think that people have a preconceived notion of what they want that person to be like.
Hmm.
And so they automatically start associating certain things at many different levels.
Hmm.
And then as that changes, people don't really know how to adjust to those changes. So for instance,
Out of their fears.
out of their fears, or so for instance, I was talking with some people and somebody was asking about how is this person wrong. There was apparently a mom who buried her son as a man even though he lived as a woman, and his wishes were to
Hmm.
be buried as his woman being.
Yeah. Was that in
Mother,
a will though?
I'm not sure. I don't know if it was obviously in a will or not, because she obviously carried on this funeral, these arrangements with him as a man,
And this is
apparently.
why I say funerals are selfish, because it
Mm,
really doesn't have anything to do with the person that passed. It has a lot to do with the people who are okay with how we allow you to pass, how we represent you when you pass.
mm, mm. I never thought of it like that.
Because
That is in.
you spend all this money on a casket, you spending all this money on flowers. This
Mm,
person doesn't know if you going by what they written down or what they wanted. And you're saying that's not good enough for my son. That's not good enough for my daughter. That's not good enough for my wife. I want this. But she said here in this document that I don't care. I want this. I'm paying for it. It's the ego trip.
mm-hmm,
Burn
mm-hmm,
me, please.
mm-hmm.
That's it.
Get it over with. Get it over with.
That's
For sure.
madness. But I feel like that is disrespectful. If someone asks to be um passed on and that's their last wish and you go completely left and say I want to see them as this, that's disrespectful. I don't care who they are and what they wanted.
You know, here's the thing. I could not help but to feel like I really can't call it anything. Did you disregard their wishes? Yes. So could that be disrespectful? Yes. With you saying it like that, I would have to agree. For me, I could not help but to feel for the mother who gave birth to a son
Mm-hmm.
and to I mean, because I don't know the intricacies of the story as far as when this person was living. Did the mother go by these other names or pronouns, or
Mm-hmm.
what that relationship was like, or anything? I just know that these were the death wishes,
Mm-hmm.
apparently, and this is what the mom did, and there was like some issues about it or whatever. Again, this is just something kind of on this topic, but I could not imagine, especially as a Black woman,
Yeah.
giving birth to a Black man in America, um having to bury your son, first of all, because that's what he is, that's her son.
Yeah.
Now could she have just go ahead and dressed him up in the clothes he liked to wear? For me, it's like, why not almost uh, I guess degrade it, dismiss it to that level. Because to me, it would be dismissive to just be like, just dress him in the clothes he wanted to be dressed in. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's dismissive of the way he actually lived his life. And so, but it goes to the same thing. He chose his gender, and his mom was like, no, you didn't. You may like to wear these clothes, you may like to date me, and you may like to do all that, but you're still my son. Like, that's just genuinely, obviously, how she felt in her heart of hearts,
Yeah.
because she couldn't bear putting her son in the ground as a woman, and that's her Black son in America today. And again, I don't know how he died or any
Mm-hmm.
of the business. So, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's still the same. It's like, she was like, no, like, this is my son. Like, that, we're not doing that. We're not putting him in the ground with makeup all on his face. Like, this is my son. Like, imagine her putting him in the ground as her son. She probably thought to the day that she went in labor, like her water broke and she saw her baby boy's face for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And how she probably treated him for the longest. Again, I don't know the details of the story to know if maybe this was something from a little kid. He started early and she always accepted it or whatever. But I mean, he chose, and so
For
is that
me,
would that not be the same as kind of respecting it? I guess from well, I guess it's the not telling them part. In this case about the Theybies, it's like not telling them the difference.
yeah.
Um, it sounds like this guy knew, obviously, that he was just different, whatever. I mean, he was an adult.
Yeah.
And so, but
And
I
it
guess
depends
it's
on
not
what kind of parent you are.
Mhm.
Some parents feel like once their child starts making their own decisions and I don't have to pay for their lifestyle, they don't come to me to eat, breathe, live shit.
Mhm.
What they want is what they want, and that is your cutoff. You're only involved when they want you to be involved. You're only involved when they ask you to be involved, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
I am that parent.
Right.
Once my daughters get to an age where they don't need me, I don't have to pay for nothing. When they in trouble, they can handle it, or their fathers can help. And I don't necessarily have to be there and they could do it themselves, but they welcome me to be within their
Mhm.
space and they make the decisions that they make and they're with the people that they want to be with and they're in those relationships and their final say of how they want to live their life or how they want to go out when they end their life is I'm not changing nothing. The lady said here on page 6 that she would like to be in a red wig on her way out. Okay, so that's what we do and get her the red wig.
Right.
But
That's respectful.
yeah, some parents feel like I'm the parent till
Mhm.
I say I'm gonna let go.
Mhm.
And to
Mhm.
me, that's an ego trip. But to them, that's like, I gave birth. You don't tell me what to do. And when it comes to my kids, can't nobody tell me nothing about my kids but me. So I just respect it. And I do my famous, I agree to disagree. Because that's one thing I'm not going to do. I'm not about to fight with no parent about their views on their kid. And if I send my child to school again and she in a room where it's a classmate and I ask her what's their name, because I see that I would identify this child as this, but she says no, their pronouns are they, them, and their.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be like, okay. I'm not gonna be like, I ain't doing that. Nah, 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 nah. That's drama. That's unnecessary. Because whatever you
Mm-hmm.
feel, whatever you trying to push out right now is gonna be nothing tomorrow because they're gonna still call this person by their pronouns. Like, but
And you know what? That's the thing. It's like I don't have a problem with like name switches. I kind of don't have a problem with pronouns. I think
mhm.
that people have to understand that sometimes it is an adaptation for people. So
Yes,
for
you have to
instance,
be fair. Teach me.
yeah, because for me, like when I watch, for instance, RuPaul's Drag Race,
Hmm.
in my mind, they go by she's, and when they dressed up, sometimes I'll slip up and be like she. And it's not like I intentionally, like purposely call him he,
Hmm.
because they call each other girls and kikis and all that all the time. But
Hmm.
it's just like for me, they're drag queens and I know they're men. However, this season is really weird because there's a transgender woman on there. So, born a woman.
Hmm.
I don't know if she's undergone the entire surgery, but I definitely know she had a mastectomy.
Hmm.
And she's a drag queen, though.
And this is my thing. I don't have any problem with that. I'll respect it if you show me respect, right? All I ask is that people give people who don't know the space to get to know. Don't
Mm-hmm.
automatically tell me you don't call me that. That's disrespectful, and I don't know what to call you. Have it somewhere on display if I say something and it's disrespectful, or I just need to be educated on how to ask questions that I'm unsure about a person. Like in the past, when I worked for insurance, you get a call on the phone. You will have people that by voice sound more so like a man from the other men you heard, but
Mm-hmm.
they're actually a woman. Or
Mm-hmm.
you hear a woman that sounds like a man, or vice versa. You have to be careful on the phone with that
Mm-hmm.
customer and not say him or sir when it's a ma'am and vice versa, because that will completely take the whole call left. And it
Yeah.
is, there is no um there is a way where you can word it to figure that out, but if it catch you off guard, you can say something that might be disrespectful.
Yeah.
And that's how it
That's
is.
the thing is, and but oh, okay. And so in that case, it would be disrespectful because that person would be that sex or gender, obviously, and you're mistaking them for something else. It's a
Hmm.
mistake, right? And that's why it could be considered offensive.
Hmm.
In this case, it's like when it comes to people wanting to make babies a thing, I feel like how do we then draw the lines of disrespect when I want to call your little boy a he because
Yeah.
he is a he? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's the part where it gets like, okay, teach me. And it's like at this point, it's really not that hard. Oh, he's a she. Okay. I mean, this boy is a she, but
Hmm.
he's not a girl. If that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like, how do we go by pronouns? Like, how does any of it mean anything if everybody is just choosing now? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the part that's kind of confusing for me. So, like, what if I'm a woman and I want to be a woman because I like my woman parts and I like penis, but I just want to go by the pronoun he? No, I just want you to call me a man because I feel like I should be called a man because I'm single and I take care of myself and I'm the breadwinner and I take out my own trash and I fix my own sink and I fix my
I
own
feel
this.
like that's what men think about women when they can take care of themselves, buy their own things, have their own things. They think that they're coming to replace their position as men, and that's not it.
Mm.
But
Mm-hmm.
then at the same time, they think that, they also think that women that look for men who are well off, have everything, don't want to work, want to look dolled up all the time, want to have money to buy things and go on trips. Oh, you just a gold digger. You just go to men for money. So what is it? What is the ideal woman?
Mm-hmm.
And why do y'all only get to pick?
So I was talking to some people the other day and they were saying that men choose who they want to be with, but women choose who they want to sleep with. They stood on it. I was like, okay, well, I ain't never heard of that, and the theory
I
doesn't
ain't heard of
sound.
that. I don't take them out to eat. I don't take them trick or treat. What's up, Slim?
I mean, I just feel like that is a non-proven. That's not some. That's not a, like. What do you have to stand on to prove that? Because women are just as liberal with who they want to be with, just as picky, just as standoffish. It depends on the person. I don't think that that's something that you can base on. Now, are there trends that are more heavily weighed one way or the other? Absolutely, I think so.
Mhm.
Right. I think that has just a lot to do with society, though. I
Like,
think that has a lot to do with a lot of people faking who they are in society.
yes. What do you think about women getting on that one knee?
Girl, don't make me scream it. Do not make me scream at these people listening to this episode.
Oh
Can I say
my
it
God.
deeper? I don't even want to say that no more because that ain't even, to me, that's like so vulgar to say. But sis, you better not, bitch. I wish that Don, the motherfucking dog, would.
Mm-mm. Now, I got a scar on my right knee for some Wayne, but it ain't because I proposed to him, okay? It was a position that I liked and I had to sacrifice. But I
Hey,
will not get on one knee for no
not for that.
and put a ring on his finger.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. I think it's inappropriate. I think that it is, man, I think it's so many things. I think people trying to play God. I think that's people trying to play God right there. I
Hello?
definitely think that's a woman trying to play God. For
What?
you to get down and ask this man who's supposed to be your leader, that's first and foremost. That's just my opinion. I think that as bold and as outgoing and as courageous and uh, assertive and powerful as I am very old school when it comes to a man. And I have definitely learned over the years how to be a lot more submissive and gentle. I know a lot of women cringe at that word, but y'all tripping and I need them. And so do the rest of y'all. Now, what we need them for, different reasons, different strokes for different folks, but we all need them.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth. And I think, girl, hell no. I think that women have gotten very far out of reach of what it should look like just naturally, because I think that's a clear sign of telling somebody you're not doing what I want you to do, so I'm gonna just do it myself.
Facts.
I think that it just screams of that. I don't think there's anything romantic about it. I don't think that there's been a woman to find a way to do it in a way that it came off across as this could be a trend and it would be cool. No, none of that. I haven't seen it.
Mm-mm. If my man's hands don't sound like this when he touched me, sir, no. I don't. I want to feel like you are exfoliating my body when you touch me. I can't be putting no ring on that. Where's the
Not
big man
personally.
hands? Okay.
Not anyway. Like, what?
Like, I want your nails trimmed and clean, but they need to be like man hands.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's a tough one because I'm not, I guess I feel like I'm not judging the women who have done that. I'm not knocking them, but I will give them, I like to consider myself, I'm a self proclaimed healer, and I don't heal people by touch or anything like that. I am able to just give them a little bit of my light where they can actually just have a different where they feel they I just give them a little bit of my light and they're able to heal themselves from the inside out is what I like to think. So what I will say is that, sis, there's so many other options. I'm really trying to be respectful. But if any of the listeners are ever thinking about that, have thought that that may be the way to do it, please do not.
I feel like it's a clear sign. Men know when they meet a woman that they want to marry. Boys with man bodies idle. Okay. And if he's idling and you're a good woman, exit left. And I feel sorry for the women that actually propose to men multiple times and they don't. And you still there. Shout out to Chrissy. Girl, you are beautiful. Why are you still with Jim Jones? I'm just asking. That's nothing for a friend.
But you know what? I mean, for a long time, she claimed that she was the one who didn't want to take
But
that.
we saw on the show she proposed 2 times.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or did you just embarrass yourself for a check?
Not purposely, but maybe that was that's what came from it.
I just feel like women know when they wasted their time or when they're wasting their time. And they hate when a woman comes along and proves the fact that they're wasting their time with examples that can be proven. And they're mad at you because you were loud about the proof, not because you're incorrect, because you're loud about it. Now everybody knows I'm dumb. Girl, everybody knew you was dumb.
Well, I feel like that's the same thing when we talk about this Theybies situation. I feel like everybody wants to go against the grain just for the sake of going against the grain. Like, there's no point in trying to not tell a boy or a girl that they're a boy or a girl, so that way when something happens to the little girl, she can't explain it to you. Or when something happens to the little boy, God forbid something happens to the little boy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know how to explain it to you because you've never truly exposed and explained to them what is supposed to be like, what it's supposed to be used for. I could even take it a step further and even say, this takes me to say, well, instead of making them babies, why don't we just do sex education a lot earlier in life, first and foremost?
You still have parents who are against schools having a discussion about real life human bodies and body parts that they have every day. You still have states who are willing to fight against history about Black people being told, even if what they're going to teach is false. We want that to be an option for our kids in this state. So what are we doing? What do we actually want for our kids? You want to keep them in a cloud of illusions is what I'm getting, because this is another listen. This is the reason why you have a bunch of men who were once boys who were sexually abused and molested by grown women who think that those grown women gave them their manhood. There was a clubhouse room where it was a bunch of men and women where the question was asked, if your son being 9 years old tells you when they're 15 or 16 that when they were 9, some lady that was older that could have possibly been their mom gave them head or had sex with them, would you go find that woman and report her? And he was like, no, like that's a notch on my son's belt. Like he had sex with a grown woman. So
That's whenever that to me is a clear, and I hate this phrase. I think that it's very toxic itself, but toxic masculinity, that's at its finest. Like saying shit like that is toxic masculinity.
and then he said, and then it was like, so what if you had a daughter and that happened with a grown man? He was like, no, I'm killing him on sight. So
Right.
why don't we care about what happens with young boys? Why is that not a thing?
We make them play with the guns. We make them play with the fighting stuff. We do, like, we just don't even have the same open minds when it comes to, we just don't even have the same open minds when it comes to dressing, what you play with, how you walk, talk, sit, all of that.
Who can violate you?
Who can violate you?
That's crazy. Even these people that take their young kids to the strip club as boys and have naked women put their titties in their butts and their vaginas in their face. Would you ever take your daughter to a strip club and have men gyrate their bodies in your daughter's face?
Yeah.
It's one-sided. You're creating another biased generation. Another sexist generation. And I think this is why men are so irritated by the fact that women want to be treated equal, but they're not equal. Women want to be paid the same, but they're not equal. So why they want to be paid the same? And if you want to be paid the same, then you take out the trash and you go cut the lawn. It doesn't have to be that. Why are you so irritated at the fact that we can both do the same job? I just want to be paid equally.
And that doesn't take away from you as a man. That doesn't take away from what you bring to the table. It doesn't take away from what you have to offer.
Right. And if anything, I should be getting paid more because I have a cycle that you don't get. And I still come in here and do my job
every month.
I have big titties that I got to carry around and do your same
that are heavy as fuck.
Hello? We should be getting paid more. Ma'am, did you work the 5 days of your menstrual cycle? Yes, I did. All right. There's a tax that you don't have to pay anymore.
Double time.
Thank you.
Right. That's pay and a half right there.
Thank you. Did you smile for the customers? Yes, I did. All right. Go ahead and put $5 more on top of that. Thank you. Like, come on.
Yeah. I think, man, I can't help but to say it reeks of people honestly just, like you said earlier, creating issues where there are none. Like where have we gone truly as a people to now be fighting, like to now make an issue out of sex? Like even in the animal kingdom, what are the animals who can procreate? I know there are some animals that can procreate by themselves. It's only like 1 or 2, I think.
The animal that I would like to recognize on this episode is the male seahorse who carries the babies.
Okay. So I guess that is like almost that argument helps the transgender community. I'm gonna have to bring that back up. The male seahorse. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna have to bring that up in that conversation because that is kind of how they always go to where, like, some women say, oh, it's because you can't have babies. And they say, well, what about women who can't have babies? And it's like their bodies are set up to, but their bodies have a malfunction.
Yes.
Men's bodies don't even have the tools that are equipped to even possibly.
You would have to go in and abstract that body. But women who cannot have kids, who have the organs and everything in the right place to create a child or hold a child and can't have them, that doesn't make them less than a woman.
Correct. Absolutely not. but they're a woman because to me in my head, and this is where I guess I hit the wall of ignorance, unfortunately, and I would love for somebody to continue to educate me.
Mm-hmm.
I hit the wall of ignorance because I can't help but to feel like, but she's still a woman because she was born with a vagina and breast tissue that
And
are,
she's been getting a period all her life.
she has a menstrual cycle
Oh
that,
my goodness.
but like she doesn't have to go take hormones to get that menstrual cycle. It
Right.
naturally comes on its own when it's supposed to for her body, which is why girls start their menstrual cycles at different ages.
Right.
What's meant for your body is going to happen with your body. And that's the beautiful thing about the universe and whatever higher power, whether that be Mother Nature, whether that be God, Jesus, Allah, any of them that they, any higher power that people praise for
Mm-hmm.
creation, right? Like, I don't know if some people in their religions don't believe that their higher power made creation, but just are prophets. You understand what I'm saying? Whatever your belief is, I don't think that people understand that there is no misalignment with that. The way that things were designed in just the animal kingdom in itself, not even just with human beings, there's a trend that we can see. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like, so do we not call the dogs with penises boy dogs anymore?
Those day dogs.
They're just dogs.
Day
You know
dogs.
what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I don't understand what the goal of it would be if we're going to be so inclusive. If that's the case, then people need to drop all these names that actually mean something. In my opinion, like you're not a lesbian, you're not, because you can still like girls and say that you're not a lesbian. Just like you can have a penis and say that you're a girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna drop one, let's just drop all the titles.
It
And then
changes
let's
it
really get
changes
into
everything though, because everything's about the government wanting to control
yeah,
through a way of finding funding, even our food. Even if you
yeah,
don't want your child to take hormones, you don't want to take birth control, your food is a form of birth control. Your water is a form of both birth control. They know that it's a whole bunch of drugs running through our pipes right now when we flush the toilet and stuff. So it's all a thing. But to sum it up, I think this is nothing but scientists wanting to play God, like you said, and find a way to have funding behind it and policies, which equals money. So that's just going to be a thing. But I'm not with no babies.
I am also not with the babies. And we're actually gonna leave off there with you on She Gets It podcast, Miss Shamrock. Thank you for having us. But we will actually be picking up this conversation. And I know for a fact my co-host is touching on governmental funding and Theybies on this
Ooh.
coming Monday. I will absolutely send you the link and everybody can stay tuned to find out about it and when it will post, because she is all over it. We had a whole conversation about it, and I'm like, we can't be having this. We gotta
I
save it.
know. I know how those go. Shut up. Shut it up. Yeah.
So, but no, this was definitely a great segue for me to have the open panel. Again, you're more than welcome to join us if you're available. We know you always in the studio with somebody.
I know.
So thank you for having us. I guess my final thoughts, if we'll have them, my final thoughts would just be to walk in your truth, no matter what that looks like. Give people the chance to learn the proper way of how to operate with you in your world. Because we're all here sharing a physical space, but we are all living in different universes. So yeah, give people grace when learning these new trends.
Yes,
I'll
please.
say that. Give us grace. But yes, absolutely walking your truth 100% of the time. As long as your truth is not negatively affecting the next person, I think
Yes.
that
And in the
we will.
words of Megan Thee Stallion, ladies proposing to men, that is not what Megan would do with those knees. Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
Dawn.
Thank you, Shan. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Peace.